Welcome to another episode of Chad Sports Talk. You don't know my name's Chad. Take a dive on sports. And we're now up to week 10 of the NFL season. That's right, we're past that halfway mark. And things are looking really, really interesting in a lot of races right now in NFL. There's a couple teams that look legit. A couple teams we thought they looked legit, not so much. I'll dive into the halfway mark and look at some of the issues or the standings, basically, and the early playoff picture right at this present point in time, and then dive into the action of Week 10 and my picks. But before getting all of that, if you could go ahead and smash the thumbs up, especially like the content provider, really please you two guys for help put this channel out. You also subscribe. Love you guys reviewing my work. I love you all for doing that. Not many of you subscribe. This costs you a dime. Helps me provide more entertainment value for you. Now we're going to just go ahead and do a quick little synopsis of the season thus far. I'm going to throw up the AFC standings according to playoffs. As you see right now, Buffalo's still the number one team. Right now there's health issues with Josh Allen. He's a UCL tendon issue that he suffered against the Jets. He's listed as day-to-day. That's all they're going to say. They're being very hush-hush about him. And I think there's more to that issue than they're really leading everyone onto and trying to have teams trying to prepare for Josh Allen instead of Case Keenum. But it is what it is. That's what they can do. And they're still sitting on top because they have that advantage over Kansas City beating them. They're number 2. Baltimore sits at number 3. And Tennessee comes at number 4. Next, the wild card team, number 1, is the New York Jets. They are no longer the bumbling idiots of the AFC. They're actually a very good team. Yes, they will stumble. All teams do. Like I said, there's no true dominant team right now in the AFC. Even though I think you can still put Buffalo and Kansas City as the 2 elite ones, but beyond that, no. Right behind them is Miami. Tua's got the weapons. He's got a little defensive ace as well to help out, balance out the team. And they're looking really good. And then the Chargers round off the playoff hopefuls, sitting there at number 7. And normally finds himself in this position anyways. Maybe they have enough to overtake Kansas City as divisional champions. We'll have to wait and see. The next 2 teams on this list, I put them up there because they're the closest ones. All the other teams, AFC, had at least 3 losses or less. So I kind of put them outside, way outside, looking in. And the 2 teams you look at is New England and Cincinnati. Now, I don't think New England's going to make the playoffs. I think this is where they're going to be hanging most of the season, right there at number 8. Number 8, number 9. This is where I think New England's going to be there, sniffing the playoffs and never quite making it. It's because they got 3 good teams ahead of them in that division, so it kind of puts them behind the 8 ball. And then Cincinnati, the defending AFC champs, I think that the best shot of trying getting in there. Maybe they overtake Baltimore as the divisional champ once again. Maybe one of the other teams slip up and they sneak in there. You never know. Now we look at the NFC side, and the number 1 team there, of course, is Philadelphia. No one's beaten them yet. I doubt they go 17-0. I think they will lose eventually, but not anytime soon. Number 2 is Minnesota, who lost to Philadelphia. But no one seems to be talking about them. They're kind of flying underneath the radar right now because they don't really light up the scoreboard. They seem to struggle every day, but they just win. The old Al Davis thing. Just win, baby. And that's what they're doing. Seattle, surprising team right there in the NFC West, as they're sitting on top of that Western Division, and no one thought they would be in that position, including me. And Tampa Bay with a losing record leading the NASCAR division. And I think whoever wins that division will have a losing record and make the playoffs and host a playoff game, which I think is completely wrong. I get winning your division gets you into the playoffs. And I think that's just the old standard. You win your division, you're in. And I think the best teams, the best record, should have the home game, regardless if you win the division or not. Because what if Philadelphia and Minnesota are playing in the same division? Minnesota would not get a home game. Even though they had a wonderful season, they just can't beat Philadelphia. is that really is that fair on them? That's not a knock on their season. But you got to look at you only play 6 divisional games. I understand when half the schedule was your division. Now it's not. It's time to have the home team be the one with the best records. This is what the NBA has went to. It's time for the NFL to do that. I'll get off my soapbox. The first wild card is the Dallas Cowboys. Right now, Dak back in charge. The team is rolling. They got their offense going. So I think it's just a matter of time for them to kind of move on to the next direction. Could they repeat divisional champs? Something that hasn't happened in like 25 years. I doubt it, but they will make things interesting. The G-Men right behind them. I think with the Giants, Cowboys, Eagles, and even Commanders, they will probably end up beating each other up a little bit. And the winner will probably have at least 2 losses. So I think it's going to be more Philadelphia, but should be interesting. I think the G-Men are actually outperforming what a lot of people expect. Saquon Barkley being healthy really helps. San Francisco, number 7 at 4-4. Now, with them being there, everything looks on the upside for the Niners right now, especially when they got McCaffrey. So they got a prime running back. They have 2 good receivers, wide receivers, a good tight end. A defense that actually is halfway decent. So a lot of things are pointing in the right direction for San Fran to make a nice run. We'll see what happens in the second half of the season. I think they'll give the Seahawks a run for the money. It may overtake them. But this is also, remember, this is my pick for the NFC in the Super Bowl. So I expect a lot of things from these guys. The next group, you see a hodgepodge of teams. And the reason why you see so many of these teams is because of, 1, the South. And 2, the number 7 team doesn't have that big of a gap over everyone else. So they kind of gives more teams an opportunity to get in there. And the only teams not on this list is Carolina and Detroit. Number 8, Atlanta. Right now they're tied with Tampa Bay for the South. Tampa Bay's got the edge because they already beat them once, which they should have beaten them for a bogus roughing the passer call. But that's a different story. No, they can still sneak in there. Washington with Heineke right now as their quarterback, replacing Wentz. Has really done it's been pretty decent. Haven't won a division game yet. I don't see that happening anytime soon either, but they should make things a little interesting towards the end of the season. The Rams, despite their woes in Tampa, they could probably get back in the playoffs. But way that Seattle and San Francisco will be playing, I doubt it. And it'll be a huge matchup coming up this weekend against the other divisional foe, Arizona. That really determine who kind of stays in the hunt and who kind of fades in the distance. Lorano's become a defending champion, not to have a winning record. It's been a while since that happened. And I think the Rams are on pace for that. The Saints, despite their quarterback woes, only really a game and a half out of the playoff position. They're only a game out of the division. So the Saints still have a possibility of getting in there. Once other teams kind of fall off, the Saints are still hanging in there just because of their position in the South. The Packers lose their 5 straight. They'll have a big test this weekend. But right now, there's a lot of issues with Green Bay. The offensive line is atrocious. The defense is supposed to be a highlight for them. It has been a low light. There's been flashes of the receivers doing great things, and then they just fall apart. I don't know what's going to happen with the Packers. And it's for a Bears fan, I expect the worst. That's just me. And it could happen that way. Arizona's another one that's kind of is the Kingsbury experiment in the desert about to end because him and Kyler Murray are not really seeing eye to eye. I don't know. It's one of those things. They haven't won the divisional game yet, so they definitely need to get a divisional win soon to kind of help them out. So we'll see what happens. And then Chicago. They're on the outside looking in, right at the very bottom of this list. Justin Fields has actually performed quite well recently. I think they finally figured out how to best utilize his talents. we'll see what happens moving forward with him. And that's a quick snapshot of the first half of the season. Some unfamiliar names sitting on top. Will that continue? Are those just pretenders, or were they real contenders? Stand up. But let's just kick this off with tonight's action between Atlanta and Carolina, a key matchup in the NFC South. This is the one I went back and forth on. I don't know who to really go with, because Carolina has shown the abilities to be really great. I mean, especially what they did against Tom Brady. They just stifled him. Defense just beat up Tom Brady. But then in Cincinnati, they couldn't do anything. So you're not sure which version of Carolina you're going to get. Same thing with Atlanta. Now, Atlanta's defense likes to give up games towards the end. They couldn't stop the Chargers at the end of the game to win it. They've blown leads. I mean, it seems to be the Atlanta's MO. But I think Atlanta has a little bit more talent on their team right now. I would give the slight edge to the Falcons, which they show it. They have a slight edge they're actually favored as well. But I would definitely give it to Atlanta. Now, I think it's going to be a very close matchup between these two. All right, next we'll head off to Germany. Will be playing host to their first regular season NFL action. We'll head out to Munich, Bavaria, home of Oktoberfest, where Tom Brady and the Buccaneers will take on Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I have a friend that I knew when I was stationed in Germany. He was part of the Bundeswehr of the German Air Force. And he's a huge Tom Brady fan. He loved the Patriots. He loved Tom Brady. And then there was a game where the Patriots were coming over. I think it was more for preseason, or they were going in England, and he couldn't even realize Tom Brady wasn't there anymore, and he was upset. Now he can go to Munich, watch Tom Brady, root for his new team. But he's not going to be very happy with this matchup. Now, right now, Tampa Bay is favored, and I think just because it's Tom Brady. Now, the way I look at this game, I look at it that the fluke they did against LA was just that. There's too many issues with this Tampa Bay team that's going to be fixed. And traveling out of the country to play in Germany is not going to change anything. So, with that being said, I think that Seattle, with the resurgence of Geno Smith's career, apparently the wristband is a big factor in that one. If you count that little rift, little jabs between Coach Carroll and Russell Wilson. But there's a new mentality right there in Seattle. Even the receivers have said that. They've all taken jabs, little jabs. You got to read between the lines at Russ. So Seattle's just a new team. Coach Carroll's loving it. He's back to the days of Legion of Boom, where he's just loving coaching once again. Geno Smith's loving it because he has two dynamic receivers. He has a nice rookie running back that's just running over people. And I think Seattle will go to Munich and take out the Buccaneers. I don't think there's anything that Tom Brady can do that can change that fact. Now we'll come back home and have to go out to Windy City, where the Bears are playing host to the Lions, the two bottom teams of the NFC North. This is pretty much a game for the Bears to have to win. They have to keep winning these games and make themselves relevant in the playoff picture. Now note, when I did my preseason predictions, I think I had them 9-8. So I don't see them winning 6 games in the next 8. But this will be a good start. Right now, Detroit, they had a good game against Green Bay. They got to Aaron Rodgers, sacked him multiple times. He had picked him off twice, took him out completely out of their game. A little hard to do that with Justin Fields. He's not a stationary quarterback. He's very mobile. I mean, he had 178 yards on the ground last week, the most of any running back in the Super Bowl era. He had more rushing yards than he did passing yards. That's old school football right there. And that's what they're using. Chase Claypool has yet to really make his presence known. Maybe it's just a matter of time before he starts getting into the swing of things. Komet has been one of his favorite receivers. Mooney. So there's some targets for Justin Fields. They have the draft picks next year to really build around him. Maybe get a couple offensive linemen, a couple key guys in defense, and then the Bears can start moving forward and build that team. But dealing with this one, I think Chicago's going to be too much for Detroit offensively. Defensively, I think Chicago's going to cough up too much to Jared Goff and the rest of the Lions. So it's going to be an interesting game. It's going to be a close game, but I think Chicago's going to pull off in the end. Then off to Western New York, where the Bills will play host to the Vikings. Now with this one, it's the Josh Allen medical drama that has taken grip of the landscape right now, because he has a possible UCL issue, which is a lot of really common one for pitchers, because it's what's called Tommy John surgery. You don't really see it too much in quarterbacks, but I think we got the hit. We had the fumble that his offensive lineman recovered, but he hit back and he saw his arm just switch back, and it just stretched that UCL a little too much. You saw him flinching his hand and whatnot. You're still able to throw, but there's a lot of other mechanics that you just don't feel right. And you saw, like, shortly thereafter, he threw one of the longest passes in the NFL season, which went incomplete, but he still threw it. I think for them, they're not saying much. They're saying he's day-to-day. I'm just pretty much saying that they're going to keep him out of the limelight, to kind of keep him in the background and kind of moving. Have teams kind of wondering if he's going to start or not. Now, Case Keenum is no stranger being a starter. He used to be a starter out there in Minnesota, especially when Diggs is out there as well. So those two already have a familiarity with each other. The defenses are right. Von Miller seems got the Bills' defense going pretty good. But Minnesota is one of these sneaky teams no one's talking about. Like I said, the only game they lost was to the Eagles. They don't win big. They play close games, but they win. Like I said, the old Al Davis narrative. Just win, baby. And that's what they're doing. I think Minnesota's going to be too much for Buffalo, especially with the Josh Allen question mark, and that's going to be the difference. If Josh Allen plays, I think it's going to be more Bills. If Josh Allen doesn't play, it's going to be more Minnesota. But I'm going to go with the fact that Allen's not going to play, and Minnesota's going to sneak out Buffalo with the victory. We head down to the Music City, where Denver Broncos come to town to take on the Titans. This is going to be King Henry's Court. He's going to make Russell his jester. And it's nothing you can do. Verbal's got this squad performing quite well. And I don't see any issues. I really don't. I don't think Denver has no chemistry whatsoever. And they're just not jiving the way they should be jiving right now. And Tennessee's just going to be able to handle them. Then we head off to Arrowhead, where the Jacksonville Jaguars come to town. They had a miraculous comeback against the Raiders at home. I don't see this one happening against Kansas City. They'll probably put up a fight very early, and then Mahomes will be able to finally just sneak out and beat Mahomes. Because there's just too many receivers to pick up. They still have two good running backs that could also run as well. So there's just too many weapons on that Kansas City offense. It's the defense that's going to be question mark. So see how they handle Trevor Lawrence and the rest of and their running attack. And they're very susceptible to the runs. Like I said, that's what's going to keep Jacksonville in the game. But I think Kansas City will be able to beat the Jags. Then we head down to South Beach, where the Dolphins will play host to the Browns. That's going to be track meet. It really is. The Jacoby Brissett and Amari Toomer for Cleveland against Tua and his double threat of Waddle and Hill. I'm taking the Dolphins in this one as track meet. That's all it's going to be. I think Chubb and Garrett are just going to be trying to find ways to stop the other quarterback, but we'll have no any luck, really. So, Miami beating Cleveland. Then we head to New York, with the G-Men play host to Houston. Now, this one is interesting. I think both these teams are very similar, but one is doing way above where it should be, and one's pretty much right where everyone thought they would be. The Giants are right now hitting above their weight class, and he's doing extremely well. Daniel Jones and Mills are very similar quarterbacks, but Daniel Jones seems to be doing a lot better than Mills is. Running back wise, Saquon Barkley is healthy. He's dominant. And Pierce is just a phenomenal running back himself that is putting up some fantastic numbers. They can't really stop anything. Giants receivers are kind of question mark. And then you have Brooks on the other side who wants out of there, but he can't get out. It's going to come down to defenses. Both defenses are actually pretty good. And you know how Houston took it to Philadelphia this last week. I have a feeling to do the same thing against the Giants and possibly could be leading into the fourth quarter. This is where Mills fails. And this is where the Giants will prevail because they like coming back in the fourth. It's going to be a comeback victory, but the Giants beat Houston. Then we head out to Las Vegas as the Raiders play host to the Colts and Jeff Saturday's coaching debut. That's right. Jeff Saturday, the former center of the Indianapolis Colts, longtime friend with Peyton Manning. Always getting jabs thrown at him from Peyton during his Peyton and Eli's simulcast during Monday Night Football. So he knows the caliber of having, type of teams to kind of win games. Now, will that translate well into coaching for his first time beyond high school? No. He's in for a long day. The Raiders have to do something. They need some type of spark. Coughing up a huge lead against Jacksonville. It's just, they're deflated. There's no question about it. They had more higher expectations coming into the season, and they just went away. Now, looking at this aspect with the Colts, it's not the quarterback issue. It's the offensive line. If the offensive line cannot protect the quarterback, what else do you expect them to do except get sacked? Elbring got sacked, 9 times last week. Matt Ryan spent more time on his back than on his feet. It's a disaster right now in Indianapolis with the offensive line. Maybe Saturday can whoop them into shape and get them to be a more cohesive unit and actually do their jobs. It's going to take a few days to get that one sorted out, but yeah, there's not going to be any close. I think the Devontae Adams, Derek Carr bromance will continue to blossom. They'll find ways to dismantle the Colts defense, and the Raiders should win. Then we head out to the Steel City, where the Steelers will play host to the Saints, and the Saints right now, it's just one of these weird teams. They have so much talent on both sides of the ball, and they just can't seem to really win right now. Maybe Sean Payton was the reason why they were doing so well. Maybe it was Drew Brees why they were doing so well, because a quarterback right now can't seem to remember which team he plays for. I mean, Andy Dalton has shown glimpses where he could be phenomenal, and then he'll throw 2 picks. James Winston can show games where he's phenomenal for about half the game. If you combine these 2 guys together with Dalton's experience and Winston's talent, there'll be one phenomenal quarterback. They'll probably have 4 touchdowns and an interception in the game. And then right now, the running attack by Kamara, non-existent. Ovale right now is number 1 receiver because Michael Thomas is out again. The defense has its moments where it'll go blow for blow, and then nothing else. I'm going to get this one to Pittsburgh. I think the Steelers will find a way to win this game. They got a quarterback right now is kind of questionable. So I think they'll find ways to take advantage of that. But I think the Steelers will stink out that one. Then we head to the frozen tundra of Green Bay, Wisconsin, as the Packers play host to the Dallas Cowboys. And can Green Bay stop their slide? They stop at a 5. As a Bears fan, I'm going to say hell no. Aaron Rodgers is still not taking responsibility. He's not trying to lead this team. He's just doing this. He's on his own plane of existence. Green Bay's here. Aaron Rodgers is over here. or even over here. I mean, he doesn't even know where he's at. I mean, it is that bad where the organization is here. Coach LaFleur is like right here. Aaron Rodgers is over here. I mean, you can't have a cohesive team like that. His receiving core is a mixed bag of rookies and solid players that can't seem to catch the ball. They can't do the one thing they're paid for. They don't run the ball. They have two good running backs. They don't use them. Offensive line is terrible. The defense is supposed to be the focal point to kind of help Green Bay anchor the season. It's sitting at the bottom of the lake. I don't see anything really happening with this one. Cowboys right now are just flying high. They should just run the ball and run it and run it and run it. It doesn't matter who you use. Pollard, you can use Zeke, you can use Dak. It don't matter. Run the damn ball. You'll have fun. Green Bay can't stop you. Michael Parsons will have many times. He can get Aaron Rodgers' autograph in the backfield after he sacks him about 3 times. And it's going to be a long day for Green Bay, and I think Dallas will end up winning. Now off to Hollywood, where the Rams will play host to the Cardinals in a huge matchup in the NFC West. These two teams need this game. This is a must-win for both to kind of stay within that hunt. With the Seahawks, right now they're 3 games out of the Seahawks, and if they don't continue to win, I think Arizona's chances of winning the West is gone. This is a chance for them to stay in the playoffs, in the playoff hunt, because the 49ers are only 2 games ahead of them. So, with that being said, they're actually a game and a half, sorry. And right now, Matthew Stafford's on a concussion protocol, so his status for Sunday is questionable. The Rams are just a mess right now. They can't run. Stafford can only seem past the cup, which is not a bad choice. The defense is just kind of there, but Arizona's just another one. I think the Kingsbury experiment could be hit out. Him and Kyler Murray are not seeing eye to eye in a lot of things. You saw a riff a couple weeks ago where DeAndre Hopkins had to separate the two. I think DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray can get back into some type of rhythm, and Zach Ertz can get back into the game plan. And Arizona could make some noise. And I'm picking the Cardinals to win in L.A. to knock off the Rams and kind of see how things kind of go from there. Then we head up the coast to Santa Clara for the Sunday night matchup between the 49ers and the Chargers. And this is between the 2 7 seeds right now in the standings to see who's going to get that next win. So, with this one, I mean, it's the Bosa Bowl. This is what it is. The Bosa brothers will play on each team on the defense, so it'd be nice to see both these guys on the same field together. They haven't done that in a while. And there's just too many weapons right now on the 49ers for me not to look at them. You know, the Chargers defense had made some improvements, especially with Khalil Mack now back there. So they'll make some adjustments to the 49ers. But like I said, the 49ers got way too many different toys to play with that you may be able to shut down one, because can you shut them down them all? And that's what's going to have to be. And I think the 49ers are going to be too much for the Chargers. I think the Chargers will make it close. It's just how they are. It's how the 49ers are. They never seem to really blow anyone out, but they always seem to find ways to make things ugly in terms of their games. Just look at that game in Denver. That was an ugly game. That was a baseball game. But 49ers over the Chargers. And then Monday Night Football, NFC East clash between the Commanders and the Eagles in the city of Brotherly Love. And I think Washington should make it interesting, but Philadelphia's going to be way too much for them. It's just how it is. I mean, Houston gave them a scare, but they were able to prevail, and I think that's what we have to do. You just have to keep plugging away at what you do and what you know, and eventually everything will kind of plan out in the end. But I will still say the Eagles take care of the Commanders. There you go. Those are my picks. Let's see if I can do better than 7-6 last week. Like I said, last weekend I was terrible no matter what I picked. I had the wrong World Series champion. I had the worst week in my college football picks. It was about worse than the pros, but see if I could do better than 7-6. Definitely much needed. We'll kind of see how things kind of going. Hey, let me know what you think of this week's games. Who you think is going to win? Is your team in a hunt for the playoffs, or just barely sniffing at that last position like my beloved Bears? Let me know down below. Where you're there. Go hit that thumbs up once again. You can also share this video with your friends and family. It helps promote this channel out. Once you subscribe, make sure you hit that bell. That'll let you know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I will see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.